Hey, salut friends, welcome to Sensatura, and today we are taking a look at Galop de Hermès, obviously from the house of Hermès. That's right, I have been on a Hermès kick lately this year, and this one I think deserves to be discussed. This is a 2016 release, the first independent one from Christine Nagel, who took over from Jean-Claude as the in-house perfumer. With this kind of situations, when a respected veteran gets a successor, there is always skepticism. Sure, now in hindsight, she has done some good work by infusing her own style into the house. Also some disappointing ones, but the consistency is still there, thanks in part to the transition period where they both work together. Now, Nagel's style is a little more concrete and prosaic in contrast to the minimalistic, transparent approach of Jean-Claude, but I still find it enjoyable. Hermès is a house that I really love, always loved. They are always classy and sophisticated, do not go chasing trends and do their own thing pretty much. I think they are the most consistent designer house, mainly due to the theme that Jean-Claude helped establish. Sure, they may not always be super exciting, industry shifting, but they are never totally deplorable. Hermès obviously has its equestrian roots, saddlery and so on, which you observe in all their creations till date. This one, Galop, came out of nowhere, does not belong to any collection, a standalone release, an extrait with its own bottle, which is pretty much unheard of in today's designer fragrance world. It was supposed to serve as the launching pad for Nagel to take the helm as the in-house perfumer at Hermès, so I was really curious to test this one. The bottle itself is a piece of art, I would say, inspired by a design that Hermès used to give out to clients in 1930, I believe, at the launch of their New York boutique. Obviously, it has been inspired by a stirrup that you would put on a horse as a nod to the equestrian roots of the house. So what do I get from this? Right at the opening, it is evident that this one is Hermès' take on a rose and leather theme, which was having a moment around the mid-2010s when many brands did their own takes on their theme. And yes, this one is mostly a duet between these two notes. They kind of switch back and forth throughout the entire wearing of the fragrance with saffron, while still maintaining the French style, the perfume style, without going into the Middle Eastern Oriental direction. In the opening, there is also this slightly boozy, sweet, tart, sour, fruity quince note, which is a bit unique here, opposed to using regular citruses. It has this dense, starchy quality to it, which really complements the leather. Obviously, this is not Hermès' first leather fragrance. Galop, in fact, joins the numerous prominent leather fragrances from Hermès, starting with Eau de Hermès, Belle Amie, Equipage, Kelly Calèche, Cœur d'Ange, and even the latest Violet Valinka. The comparative one here, I would say, is Cœur d'Ange by Jean-Claude Elena. Thematically speaking, when Hermès asked Nagel to come up with a fragrance that encompasses the heritage of Hermès, similar to Jean-Claude Elena, she went to Hermès vaults to smell their leathers, where she was specifically taken with this sought after doubly suede leather for inspiration. It is a soft, delicate, very sensitive calfskin leather and requires a lot of care, which she compared to a woman's skin, and decided to pair it ultimately with the classic feminine floral in the West, being rose. In the dry down, this tandem rose and leather continue to hold each other. The rose in here, being Turkish, has this lightly sweet, syrupy but dense, dark red facets to it. Also slightly fresh, inky and metallic nuances as well. It has some hints of the rose in Myrrh Églantine from the Hermès collection. As you go through the dry down, the fruitiness goes away and the little freshness from the rose is what keeps the fragrance from completely going dry. The leather is the star of the show here. It is clean, elegant, plush, floral suede, not the overly animalic, dense, dark, smoky kind. It smells really modern, sophisticated and comes across very expensive. It's also really smooth, has some nuances of a Hermès handbag, saddlery goods, and this horse skin kind of a vibe going on. It also has this floral quality, possibly with some osmanthus, heliotrope or hawthorn notes in there. Some hints of cœur d'ange also comes through. So quite a bit of Hermès influence there for sure. There is definitely this imagery of a woman in red on a horse that comes to my mind. There is this slightly spicy saffron, almost like a bridge between the rose and the leather. It has this slightly sweet, earthy hint of honey in there and adds to the tannery, leathery nuances of the fragrance. This symmetry, counterbalance, galloping if you like, between the rose and the leather is what I get for most of the dry down of the fragrance, I would say. It is a quite straightforward fragrance and not really going for complexity in terms of the number of notes here, but more on the textures and contrasts from the way those notes are worked into the fragrance. The smoothness and the lift from the Rose Absolute, the spiciness, light, dusty, powdery qualities from the saffron, and the dark mineralic nuances of the suede leather, all of that is in here. You feel this rhythm, beats like a dance in this fragrance. All of this makes this a compelling, wonderful wearing experience for me. When you get to the far dry down, the combination of leather, rose and saffron turn a bit more dusty with some mossiness, patchouli and ambery touches to it, though not being very heavy-handed. There's also this clean muskiness and cedary woodiness which comes through in the far dry down. And this is what is left till the scent reaches the finishing point on your skin. The performance is good, behaves like an extrait de parfum, lasts for about 10 hours with overall soft projection, which I think fits this scent profile. More of a dressy occasion fragrance, I would say, for fall and winter. I do wear this myself, but I think it will be irresistible on a beautiful woman. Overall, I'm quite taken with this fragrance, I have to say. The interaction between leather, rose is obviously my favorite part. The Hermès DNA, which is this orangey, dry, mineralic, suede kind of undertone that I like very much, is also present here. It also imprints strong colors of rose, red and suede brown in my mind. There's a constant reminder of horses from this scent profile, even having horse as an allegory for Hermès women in the advertising. The hoof of a horse digging into the dirt, the rusty, dusky, brown, earthy undertones, all of this adds to the complexity of the fragrance. It still remains very clean, modern, chic, even almost futuristic, without going in the animalic direction. There is this graceful vibe about it, little snobby, and this fluidity about it. It is extremely classy, alluring, smells expensive, but also has a sensual, seductive quality to it. Extremely well made. You can feel that a lot of time and effort has went into it. Tight transitions, high quality, that is better than most niche fragrances nowadays. I would say this is the best Hermès since Nagel took the helm, and easily one of my favorite modern leather fragrances, and I think deserves more appreciation. Now, apart from the images of roses in a handbag and clean horses in a stable, it evokes two key settings in my mind. The first one representing the leather, being an artisan saddler who is very passionate about his craft, horses and leather, working at his posh workshop in Paris, creating a new piece. And the second one representing the rose, being a rich woman with old money, super wealthy, equestrian heritage, who is very bold, free and beautiful. We may judge her for it, but she is still unapologetically herself. All of this is a quintessential expression of the house of Hermès. Evoking all these feelings in my mind is why, my friends, I think I admire this perfume. So, there you go. Galop de Hermès, Thanks for watching. Until the next video, take care and ciao.
Cette nouvelle selle, j'essaie de la faire comme la feuille de papier. Elle a la forme qu'il faut, mais elle devient comme une feuille de papier qui va à aucun moment gêner le cheval dans son mouvement. Mais elle va être minimaliste.